Beautiful. So it's my pleasure to introduce beautiful Meg Cleary, who's going to host this wonderful masterclass. Over to you, Meg.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Faith. It's great to be here. I feel like it's been a bit of a while getting here, but I'm here and I'm excited to talk about the topic today. It's a pretty big topic, so I could talk about this for a week, really, but I have honed it down to some really hot, juicy bits, so we'll get into that very soon. What I want to do before we get going, I've had a pretty frantic morning and I got a heap of stuff to do after this as well. So I wanted to do a little bit of a grounding session for us to do a bit of a line in the sand, close off that area and give us a little cocoon to focus on what we're going to chat about today. So get comfy. This will only take a few seconds. It's super easy, little grounding exercise. If you can, if you're sitting, have your feet firmly planted on the ground. If you're lying down, bend your knees, put your feet on the ground. You can have your shoes on or off, doesn't matter. But what we're going to do, close your eyes if you like, we are going to focus on our toes. We're going to take a huge deep breath in and we're going to expand our toes as we do that. And then as we breathe out, we'll bring our toes back to the starting position. So a deep breath in, toes out, breathe out and bring your toes back to the start. We'll do 3 more of these. Breathe in deep, spread your toes. Breathe out, close them in. Breathe in, breathe out. And a final one, deepest breath of the day. Spread the toes and bring them back. Beautiful. So that's the kickoff for today. I have got some slides to share, which I will do in one moment, but please feel free to ask any questions as we go. I know Faith will keep an eye on the chat box and will give me a shout out if there's something in there. More than happy to answer as we go. But let's dive in. Let me just share the screen. And hope this all works for you. Give me a nod if you can see that. Just a whole great screen. Great. Okay, we've done the grounding. So today we're covering how to start your healthy routine and keep going. This is a very hot topic. I've been coaching for a number of years, and this is the thing I hear time and time again. People know what to do, they want to do it, but they just can't get going. So I really wanted to bring this to life, let you know you're not alone with this scenario. It happens to all of us. And let's dive in. I've got plenty of information that I want to share. But firstly, I wanted to start with why this is how it is. Why can't we get going? And why can't we keep going? Hello, my old friend inertia. So inertia is really about being stuck. It is, having a lack of motivation or energy or desire or impetus to do really anything. And the most common causes of inertia are uncertainty, overwhelm, fear, loss, and sometimes significant changes can render us feeling stuck. And overwhelm is a big one. This is the one that I probably hear the most with women at midlife. You know, when we feel overwhelmed, we tend to just spin around and do nothing. And that leads on to procrastination. Then we give ourselves a hard time for not doing anything. This adds to the already heavy layer of pressure that we're putting on ourselves. That increases the overwhelm and we end up just thinking we're lazy. Who can relate? Who has been in this situation where it just, everything feels too much and it's too hard to get going? Yes, I think we've all been there. I know it well. So I have many clients who may come and see me and they might want to, you know, lose 20 or 30 kilos, and that just feels like a very big task. Or I have other people who may want to, you know, run 5 kilometers and they're currently feeling puffed going up a flight of stairs. So again, that feels like a really big task to overcome. So when they're in that situation, they start feeling overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. And then it gets put into the too hard basket. It doesn't go anywhere. They still want to do those things, but they don't know where to start. It gets put in the too hard basket. And that too hard basket doesn't actually go anywhere. It just starts to feel fuller and fuller and fuller. And then our brain is telling us, you know, we need to do this. We have to make a change. And it starts to feel really urgent. It's almost like you're an ice cube and you can feel yourself melting and oh, hurry up, I've got to do something before I've melted. And then when we get to that stage, we kind of have this tendency to go all in. We decide, righto, I'm getting up and I'm going to go 30-minute walking every morning. I'm going to eat all the chocolate, get it out of the house. I'm going to start a food plan. I'm going to start meditating. I'm going to do all the things, go to bed earlier, all the rest. So we kind of start going and we might get up the first couple of mornings and we're like, yeah, we're doing this. This is all good. Then we forget we have an event on Wednesday night, so we don't get as much sleep. So Thursday morning, we don't want to get up. We're like, okay, I'll do it tonight. And then it gets to the late afternoon and we know we are not going to go walking tonight. We're feeling tired. We're reaching for some chocolate, for some energy. We get home. We don't want to cook. We pick up a takeaway. We sit on the couch and we're like, you know what? This is all too hard. I'm going to start again next week. This is a common scenario that happens. Tell me if this is resonating, because I know it's a common one for me as well. It's almost like the urgency builds up, then we try and do everything all at once, then it's too much, so we kind of fall over in a heap, and then we get stuck in that cycle again. So this is why it becomes so hard. I can see something in the chat, but you'll let me know if that's necessary. All right, so what can we do about it? Now, this is a different approach to creating a healthy lifestyle, I suppose we can call it. How do we make it happen? The approach that we're going to look at today will really take us away from that kind of all or nothing that we tend to dive into very easily. We know that all or nothing doesn't work. It can feel exciting at the start and we can feel like we're motivated and doing stuff, but we overschedule ourselves. We can't sustain it, and then we kind of just let it go. So we want to build a really solid foundation. Now, this can be sometimes hard to get your head around because it really means slowing down in order to speed up. And we don't like to slow down. I get it. We just want to be there. We just want to be doing all the things and getting all the benefits. But with this, the only way really is to build yourself a solid foundation. So the steps I'm going to take you through today to build this is the what and why. We're going to do some observation. You're going to walk away with a little plan to get going with. So I hope you've got pen and paper, because we will be jotting things down or taking notes on your computer, however's best for you. We're going to look at evaluation and rinse and repeat so that we can keep going. Righto. What and why? What do you want and why do you want it? Seems very easy. Do you know what you want? If you do know, I'd love you to add it into the chat box. Often when I ask people this question, they will rattle off 1,000 things that they don't want. People seem to be very clear on what they don't want. So I'll often hear, you know, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to spend all my time at the GP's office. I don't want to lose my independence. I don't want to be lonely. So they'll have a big list of things they don't want. And that's a really good place to start. But we want to be able to flip that and really get clear on what we do want. We want to focus on what we want. So if you've got a list there of things you don't want, so if you don't want to be sick, we want to ask ourselves, what do you want? And that could be, you know what, I want to be healthy. If you don't want to spend your time at the GP office, where do you want to spend your time? And that could be, you know, traveling, learning, exploring, socializing, dancing, whatever it is. And if you don't want to lose your independence, again, what do you want? I want to be strong. I want to have a flexible body. If you don't want to be lonely, what do you want? I want to have a strong network of solid friendships. So get super clear on what you want. When you get really clear on what you want, that really helps with your purpose and direction. You know, it should feel invigorating, and it really helps with prioritizing your time as well. If you feel comfortable, please put in there some of the things you do want. It'd be great to see if we're all kind of got similar things. So that's an exciting thing to do. And also when you know what you want, you're looking forward and you're getting excited. When we're focused on what we don't want, we can kind of get stuck there. So we really want to be clear on that. So when you know what you want, the next part is really to get super clear on the why. So the why, you really want to craft a compelling, solid why. The why is really what drives you. It will help you get up and go and take the steps that are needed. The why's got a pretty big job. So we want to give it some time so that we can really feel it in our bodies. It wants to feel expansive and good. So when you start to think about your why, it's good to start pretty broad. Often when I ask people, you know, why they want to make these changes, they'll be like, oh, you know, because I want to be healthy. But we want to go a bit deeper than that. The job of the why is if you've decided you're going to go walking at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning, your why's got to be strong enough to get you out of bed. So it's got a big job. You want to be lying in bed and go, why the hell did I decide I'm going walking at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning? And if you've got something that's really compelling for you, that's going to help you get going. So I want to be healthy is a bit too broad. Your brain will just go, yeah, I'm pretty healthy anyway. So we want to ask then, if you're healthy, what will that give you? What would that enable you to do? How will your life be different? And that might be, okay, well, I'll be able to join in what's ever going on. I'll be able to travel. And then ask yourself, if you were joining in and traveling, what would that give you? Okay, that would give me some impetus to maybe create some plans. I'll have things to look forward to. So if you have things to look forward to, what will that give you? And that will give me a sense of purpose and direction. And if you have a sense of purpose and direction, what will that give you? And that comes down to a sense of freedom. Freedom is the real driver here. Freedom is the real why that's actually going to get you up and going. Freedom to say no to whatever you don't want to do, no longer serves you. Freedom to say yes to whatever's going on and be able to just get up and go. Freedom to make choices. So it generally comes down to a feeling word. I have lots of women that I work with who are soon to be new grandmothers or have got small grandchildren. And for them, the real driver is, you know, they want to be part of their grandchildren's lives. They want to create connection, create memories, be involved. They do not want to be sitting on the sidelines. So for them, the real driver is the connection. They want to be part of their lives and be a role model. So that's a real driving sense for them. So super important to spend a good amount of time really crafting a solid, compelling reason why you want to do these things. All right. The next part is observation. Now, this is often left out of any kind of health changes. But I think it's super important. This is where we know what our what and why is. And this is where we kind of take a step back, because we really want to look at what's already going on in our life. Where is our time going? And do those current activities really align with what's important to me and what's going to take me to the next kind of level? So what we want to do, it's important not to try and dive in there and change everything at once. Sometimes people, they might know their what and why, and then they just start adding things into their already busy schedule. And if you're doing that, those new things that you're adding in are going to be the first things to slide. So we want to, really take some time to observe where our time is going. You might want to spend a solid week or even a month looking at where does all my time go? And you want to be aware of, the big time sucks. It could be commuting, it could be social media, it could be email, internet shopping, watching TV, meetings, Netflix. And it was interesting. I was just looking at a study that was out of Nottingham University around social media. And it found that it was identified that a whopping, that we underestimate by a whopping 50% of the amount of time we spend on social media. I don't know if I said that right, but we spend a lot of time underestimating. So which suggests that it's really an automatic kind of behavior. We're just doing it and not even realizing we're spending time there. It's very easy to pick up your phone and get scrolling for 20, 30 minutes. An easy way to kind of track your time and be the observer of yourself is, if you've got your piece of paper there, to draw a big circle on it. And you want to divide that into 4. So at the top point there, you put midnight. Then at the next quarter, we're going to put 6 a.m. Then we're going to put midday at the bottom, and then 6 p.m. on the side. So it's basically turned into a clock, but we've divided our day into 4. And this is a nice visual way to kind of color code where your time's going. You can cut out a bigger chunk of time for sleeping, you might have work, and then you can see kind of where the majority of your time's going. This does not need to be an exact science. You just want to get an idea of where does my time go. So once you get a list of where your time's going and kind of average how much you're spending there, we want to kind of stop and ask ourselves a few questions about each of those activities. So the first thing you could ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does this activity align with what's important to you? Lots of things we've been doing for so long that we don't even question them. We don't even check in. Actually, do I need to be doing that? Why do I do that? So it's nice to kind of stop and start to question these things. Some things you definitely will want to keep, but there might be things that you are ready to let go of. And asking, does this activity really need to be done? And what's the best thing that could happen if I stop doing this activity? And that could be temporarily or more permanently. And what's the worst thing that could happen if I stop doing this activity temporarily or permanently? Great questions to really reflect and get an idea of where your time's going. Our time is so super precious. It really is a resource that we often don't pay enough attention to. So I'd really encourage you to kind of spend a bit of time there, because if you know where it's going, then you can really prioritize, again, what's important to you and the direction you want to go. I don't know if there's any, do I need to see anything in the chat box here? Is there some, no, all good, just comments, great. Anyone got any questions about anything so far? I feel like I'm just, yeah, chatting. All good?
All good.
Great. All right. So after we've kind of worked out how much time we've got and where we can perhaps add in new things or creating new habits, we want to start to do a little bit of a plan about what it's going to look like. Now, I like to stop here for a second and remind ourselves that we don't actually have to do anything. We are adults and we can sit on the couch all day long if we want. 100%. I find that myself and lots of people telling ourselves we have to do this, we need to do this, we should do this. And I don't know about you, when I say those things to myself, you can kind of feel the pressure. You know, I have to do that, I need to do this. And, you know, life's already pretty pressured. We don't need to do anything. I think sometimes just letting go, I don't have to do anything. And flipping that way of saying it to, you know what, I actually want to do this, or I'm choosing to do this. It puts you back in control of what you're wanting to achieve. I think sometimes when we're saying we need to, we have to, it feels like it's coming from outside. Someone's telling us what to do. And we can tend to rebel against that and throw it out the window. So by making the clear choice, you know what, I actually want to do this, it puts you back in control and you making the decisions for yourself. So keep that in mind whenever you're wanting to create a little bit of a plan for yourself. So with your list of things you want to do, I'd ask you to pull that out. And I'm not sure what you've got on there. It could be around moving your body. It could be, I don't know, learning meditation, decluttering the back bedroom, setting up an evening routine, learning yoga, getting walking, drinking water, whatever. Choose one thing from your list, just one. And then think about what is one super simple, small thing that I could get going with. One super small thing. Anyone want to share where they're kind of going to go or what they're thinking of? What would be one thing they're really keen to get going with? And what would be one super small step?
I've got a couple of things. One of them is to do with my knees. I think that might be harder to get a one thing. But the other thing was around changing that I said before the session, changing my eating habits where I have my main meal during the day as opposed to at night, which means I go to bed quite heavy. So I guess that one thing I can do just today is making that, actually planning my main meal to be right in the middle of the day, making that adjustment straight away.
Thanks for sharing that. I think it's sometimes this is when I put this question to people, they tend to put out there, they might say they want to go walking, for example. They might say, you know what, okay, I'm going to go walking 5 days a week. And I often tell them, okay, just halve whatever you have first decided, cut it in half, because there is no rush in any of this. We really have to slow ourselves down to super, super small steps. We often feel that, I can do more than that. I can focus on more than one area. We also have to remind ourselves that if you are kind of thinking, all right, I'm going to go and do this, and you kind of feel weird about cutting it in half, we have to remind ourselves that even making one change in one area of your life will have a knock-on effect to other areas. So what I mean by that is, so for example, if you've decided, you know what, I'm going to go to bed earlier, I'm going to get some more sleep, I'm going to go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Now that one decision and one habit that you're working on will give you more energy. If you've got more energy, you're then able to exercise. If you're exercising, you're probably going to drink more water. If you're doing all those things, you're probably going to sleep better as well. So we can see how just focusing on one thing is actually going to impact a range of areas. And that's why it's important to just come in with one focus and one small change rather than trying to do it all at once, because other areas will be impacted as well. And starting super small also allows us to just get going. You know, it's all about just getting out the door if that's what you're wanting to do and having a red hot go. It's a lot easier to talk yourself out of a 30-minute, 40-minute, 50-minute walk than it is a 10-minute walk. So sometimes we have this belief that if I don't do at least 30 minutes, it's not worthwhile. But that 30 minutes, your brains keep saying, I don't have time for 30 minutes. So it becomes a barrier. You don't actually even get out the door. But if you decide, you know what, 10 minutes, I'm just going to get out there and go for 10 minutes, you're more likely to get out the door. And once you're out the door, you're more likely probably to do more than 10 minutes in a lot of the cases. So breaking it down to super, super small steps and tiny amounts is really about getting around your brain, because your brain's going to want to talk you out of it. Our brains do not like change or doing new things. So we have to be kind of a bit creative in finding ways to just get out there and have a red hot go. And again, we've got to treat ourselves like a bit of an experiment. We don't know what's going to work or whether this plan's going to be for us or whether we're going to like it or what time. So just getting going starts to answer some of those questions for us. So with your little plan there, it's about deciding what is one super, super small thing to get going with. And then we also want to know, okay, when I'll do that. So we want to know what day, what time. We want to make as many decisions up front as possible. And the reason we want to do this is because the decisions can become a barrier. If we just decide, you know what, I'm going walking a couple of times this week, then we kind of end up in do it tomorrow, do it tomorrow, do it tomorrow land. And it kind of goes by the wayside. If the plan's a bit loosey-goosey, it all goes a bit loosey-goosey. So by deciding, you know what time, what day, who needs to know, what do I need to have in place, doing all that straight up, then you don't have to think about it again. Because if you don't make these decisions, they're not going anywhere. They are just continually spinning around in your head. Then they become annoying. Then they start taking up energy. Then it's like, you know what, this is all too hard. I couldn't be bothered. So we want to get super clear and make the decisions up front. You know, and I think with planning, it really is a little goes a long way. It's just about getting going, starting to build that momentum. There's plenty of time. There is no rush in any of this. You know, we all know we all want to be there, but there is no better than here. It's just different. There'll still be shitty days and there'll still be great days. So it's like we might as well enjoy the journey, slow down, and create a lifestyle that really works for us. And getting good at doing small, small steps will absolutely keep you going on that journey. And you want to make it work for you. You know, creating a lifestyle is really about how you want to live. It doesn't have to be anything for anyone else. It's really about creating and being excited about how you want to live your life. All right. So we've done the what and the why. We've stepped back and had a look at where our time's going. We've got a tiny little plan to get going with to build up. Now we want to look at evaluation. Now, again, this is another part that's often overlooked, but it's a really great way to reinforce what's going well and to bring the plan front of mind and to keep it alive. So evaluation, especially at the beginning when you're trying something new, really great to, do this at the end of every day. If you're doing daily things, or at the end of the week, spending 5 minutes. We're going to do a bit deeper diver one, so it might be 10, 15 minutes. But these 3 simple things of what went well, what didn't go well, and what we'll do differently next time. Now, also important to know that they're in this order for a reason. We really want to focus on what went well, and we want to be looking at that straight up. If we went to what didn't go well, then we'd be feeling flat, and then the what went well is probably not going to be as exciting or as impactful. So really focus on what went well first. And I think sometimes a lot of us can really struggle to think about, well, what went well? Well, I did it. So we also want to dig a bit deeper than that to really create a story around what went well, to again really build that evidence that we're doing it and we can do it and we're making progress. So I want to take you through a little way of doing this to bring it to life a little bit. I'll put an example around it. So this is the plan. I'm going to walk Monday, Wednesday, and Friday each week, 6:30 a.m. Okay, so I get to the end of the week and I'm doing a little bit of a evaluation. Okay, I'm going to look at what worked. Okay, I did 2 walks. I went further on the second time. I went further than the last time. I went even though I didn't feel like it. It's a huge bonus. I took a friend along for one of these walks. I ticked off my tracking sheet. That felt good. And I stretched after I went walking as well. So they're all the things that went really well. Then we want to look at a step further is to think about why these worked. So what was the thinking that allowed you to stick to your plan, or why did you stick to it? Now, this is a good step to do because, again, it really reinforces that you're doing it and you're making it happen. So the reasons that it happened is, you know what, I actually like my plan. I want to go further in the same time because I'm challenging myself to go a bit further each time. When I didn't even feel like it, I reminded myself, this is my podcast time. When I go for my walk, I listen to my favorite podcast. So that allowed me to keep going. I caught up with a friend, so double whammy. I was social and I was exercising. So that was really great. I got to put another tick on my chart. So again, I'm building a bit of momentum and seeing my progress. And, by stretching afterwards, this is another great way of looking after myself. So that's a full evaluation of what you can do, really focusing on what's gone well and why. How did you make it happen? That's super important to reflect on and be excited about. Then we want to look at same plan, what didn't go to plan. Just as important to look at this. So what didn't work? I missed one day. I was going to do 3, but I did 2. And I gave myself a hard time for not doing that walk. And now, similarly, what we did before, we want to look at why. So why didn't it work? And always super important to use a lens of curiosity. Always be fascinated by yourself and to have a sense of self-compassion. Okay, so why it didn't work? I felt tired when I got home from work. Then I found I didn't like my reason for not going for a walk. So I sat there judging myself, telling myself I should have been doing it. I was also stressed. And when I'm stressed, I found out that I revert to old patterns. And as soon as I got in the door, I poured myself a wine. And then I couldn't go for my walk. But the thing, what was under the stress is because I kept telling myself or thinking to myself while I was at work, I don't have enough time. Because I kept telling myself that I didn't have enough time to get all my work done, then I didn't take a break, which then left me feeling tired and drained. So these are the reasons why it didn't happen. So then we want to look at, with our reasons, what would I do differently next time? So these are all the reasons that prevented us from doing that third walk. So what could we do differently? You know, I felt tired when I got home from work. So I can simply remind myself, walking will give me some more energy and help with the managing my stress levels. I judge myself. We also want to remember to always use a lens of self-compassion, that I won't always stick to my plan, and that's okay. I could do some journaling to help release the stress, take down some notes, look at what's going on. And also recognize what happens when I'm thinking I don't have enough time. You know, that had built up the stress through the day when I kept thinking, oh my God, I've got too much to do, I'm never going to get it done. I can ask for some help, or I can remind myself I've been in this situation before and I always get it done. So this is a great way to unpack what's happened, but also to give you some ways of dealing with it next time when it does come up. And I think it's important to know, really, the reason that I didn't get to go on my walk really was because of that thought I had in my head all day long at work. I don't have enough time for this. That led to feelings being stressed. And when I'm stressed, that stopped the walk from happening. So I know we have sometimes, you know, no control over what's coming across our desk or the amount of things we have to do, but we can think about, how can I manage this stress? And that could simply be, you know what, I always get it done. Or no one's going to die if I don't get this done, or asking for some support. And again, that's going to then have you feeling less stressed. When you're less stressed, you're probably going to get your walk in. So that's the importance of really looking at what's getting in the way. All right. Any questions about any of that? And the final part of the puzzle of our 5 steps is the rinse and repeat. And this is the keeping going. How do I keep going? Which is a super important part of it. And as I've mentioned before, it's important to recognize that our brains will want to take us off track. They don't like learning new things. You know, the brains are wired to do as little as possible, to conserve energy and to be efficient. So we want to start to recognize these little excuses and quiet quits that can come up, you know, when you're slowly doing less and less and less. And again, it's not about judging. It's really being, again, super curious about what's getting in the way and what can I do to make it easier for myself. So I think it's important to have a combination of a very doable plan and an awareness of our brain wanting to take us off track. So we're up against it with that. So we want to make it super easy to make these changes. That's why super small steps and having things that make it easy to remember. Prompts, reminders. You know, we're busy people with lots going on. So then making it as easy as possible is super important. So expect at some stage that you won't want to stick to your plan. You'll be bored with your plan. Life will get in the way. But we also need to know that that doesn't mean anything's gone wrong. That is exactly what happens. That is life. And the more we're okay with that, knowing we'll go off track, then the more we can be prepared to just slowly meander, find another way, change things up, start to look at things through curiosity, what is really getting in the way here, and start to slowly find ways back on. And it's good to be excited about creating and finding a way that you can use your time to feel as healthy as possible without it taking over your whole life. I think sometimes people come to me and they're very feeling like this is a big job and I've got to do all these things. And that's where simply breaking it down to tiny things that you can manage, that can fit in, are going to take you so much further. And having that flexible attitude and curiosity and being solution focused rather than, you know, we're very quick to criticize ourselves, beat ourselves up for not doing it. Then we feel bad and then we want to quit. So we want to be able to recognize, okay, this isn't working. What could I do differently next time? What would work for me? And I've got some questions here that can be really helpful to get you a bit going again. You know, how could I make this easier for myself? Super important to make it as easy as possible. How could I make this simpler for me to follow? How could I be kinder to myself in my scheduling? Super important not to overschedule yourself. Really halve it down at the start. It's really just to get you out the door and get going and build a bit of momentum. How could I do this and have fun? Super important. If it's not fun, we're not going to do it. And what if it was just a game? How would I approach this? Love that one. And that gets you thinking a bit broader and a bit more creatively as well. So why should it be a chore? We don't want another job to do. We've got enough jobs to do. You want to have some fun. And just a couple of other, you know, handy hints to reflect on and to remind ourselves of to help us to keep going. You know, it's never allowed to beat yourself up. That is the main rule. No beating yourself up allowed. You know, it has, as mentioned before, that just has us stuck, feeling bad and quitting. And there is no rush. That is another super important one. There is no rush. Sometimes we put that pressure on ourselves and then again, we let it all go. Do not overschedule yourself. Be super clear in your calendar to have lots of white space. Be fascinated by yourself and your behaviors and celebrate the shit out of every step you take, because it is not easy to get going and keep going. Super important to be excited about it and to keep reflecting on what's gone well. When we look at what's gone well, we feel better. When we feel better, it's much easier to keep going. And this is just a nice little, you know, doing more versus slowing down. The doing more kind of philosophy is work hard, feel frustrated, work even harder, feel tired, drained, and more frustrated. Repeat. Versus pause, ground yourself, move towards quality and effectiveness, choose your priorities, move forward at your pace, adjust as necessary, and go again. Which feels, for me, so much more doable and comfortable and, I don't know, just feels nice. That's pretty much all we've got, but I would love questions and comments. That is just my contact details as well. I'd love to know the plan that you set for yourself and how you went. So please email me, text message me. I'd really be very interested to see how you went with making a super, super small step. That QR code there will just take you through to more about the type of work that I do. But please get in contact, because if we don't get out there and do it and take those small steps, you know, we're just going to keep thinking about it and driving ourselves crazy, basically. I will stop sharing and end the show. Stop share. Bring us back.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I've
That
got
was a
my
lot of
message.
information. So
Yeah.
use the replay to kind of hone in on
Mm.
each aspect of it. but I think I just wanted to try and cover off on all the cracks that we tend to fall through when we're starting out and creating something new.
Thank you. Now let's see if someone else I've got some questions, but I just want to hand over to either Colleen or Anna, and then we'll come to Jodie. Colleen, did you have any questions or anything you wanted to add or any observation?
So I'm really good at taking care of myself. I've gotten really good at it. But I'm not good at putting myself out there. You know, I study a lot of things. I'm certified in so many things. And I'm feeling like it's really time to do that, to put my skills out there. And I'm just not. And I struggle with it every single day. I mean, I am up. My routine in the morning is just beautiful. I'm up at 5. I do all these things. I meditate. I teach but I'm not putting myself out there, and I just am frustrated, confused about it. And I mean, I'm a super introvert, but still, I should be able to. It's easy for me to create things, but then. Yeah, I don't know. I feel very stuck in that. Every other aspect is just really clicking along. My health is so good now. I have such a strong routine. I do yoga 5 days a week. I work with a strength trainer. I'm great. But then there's the but. I don't know.
So many amazing things happening. As you said, you've got a really beautiful morning routine, great exercise, really healthy. How did you get all those things happening? Was that something that comes naturally to you, or you?
Just does. I like to rise really early. I love the 5 o'clock hour between 5 and 7 o'clock. I have meditated for an hour. I have done face yoga. I have done frequency work. I'm ready to go. And then by 7:30, 8 o'clock, I go to a yoga class. I'm done by 10. I have coffee with my yoga pals. But I'm not giving out what I'm supposed, I just feel like I need to give something out, and it's not happening. I just don't know. I need to work on it. I don't even really know where to start.
In regards to working, is that what you mean? You're kind of coming up against a block of want to.
Yeah, I'm super bored. I'm bored with it. I take all these trainings. Like, I just got certified in sound therapy. Yay, I love it. I'm building my tools. For what? Because I don't have a plan. And I'm a plan person, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I got to figure stuff out.
What would be the feeling when you're thinking about all the things you want to do?
Oh, I'm so excited. No, there's a lot of excitement behind it,
Okay.
I'm super excited, but then
what comes after that? I wonder.
I think
excited sounds like something that you would be getting out and taking action and doing things. So there must be something in between those almost.
I know, like there's this abyss, and I don't like to go from the excitement, and I really want to focus on people of my age, that are becoming sedentary, right? They're sitting around and they're not doing anything, and they're not taking care of their physicalness, and they need to meditate. I think everybody needs to meditate. It's just my thing, your life is better when you meditate. I don't, like I said, I'm confident, I'm strong, but there's just this disconnect somewhere. And I think it's has a lot to do with the fact that I'm very introverted. I don't know. And I just don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird, but I am very excited about it. And I would hope that would, be the fuel to kind of, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So
I
that's
wonder what
me.
other introverted people do.
I don't know. Hang out with themselves and laugh all day.
To know the ones that are out there doing things. I
Well,
don't know,
sure, there's a
yeah.
lot of introverts doing things, but
Ah.
this one is hanging out with herself all day and her cats, being weird, you know, like.
Does it feel like it's the what and the why though? Because I feel like I'm getting clear about Colleen's why, but I'm not sure if I'm clear about the what. So I wonder if it's just about Colleen spending time getting the what clear. Because I feel the passion for the whys, but there's so much energy about the whys, but I'm not sure about the what. And I wonder if it's about working on the what, Colleen. What do you think, Meg?
Yeah, or even narrowing the what down, because the what, you've listed loads of things that you want to put out there, and that can sometimes
the what's
where do I
pretty
start?
You know, thank you, Faith, for bringing up the why, because there's some why things coming up for me. Yeah.
I think it's a possibility. No, but that's a kind of a one-on-one thing. I reckon that you could really crack it and just hone in on just getting someone you might. I mean, Meg would be amazing, but if you wanted to do someone local, but I would say crack it and really get someone to sit with you and go and really work that out, because I know you and I know that you're really focused and dedicated and you're committed and you're consistent. And I think that that's something you can give to other people, but it's kind of how do you package that? So you've got these things.
The what?
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, it's a good frame for me to look at right now, because coming into this an hour ago, I didn't have that. So thank you, Meg. Thank you, Faith.
Okay, let's see if Anna wants to add anything. Hello, Anna.
Hi everybody. Hi Faith. Hi Meg. I was I was really touched, like when we were going through it. I was like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like I know my why and my what's, and like the clock was fantastic. Yeah, for me. Because I can scroll. I'm thinking it's 3 minutes, but it's 30, right? It's really easy to do. Go down the rabbit hole. But yeah, I was really like, oh, I'm doing this, little small steps. So yeah, and it comes back to the small steps for me. But it was good to write it all down. And I'm going to listen to the replay as well. Thanks, Meg.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. And I think it takes a bit of getting a head around small steps, because we're so fed to us that get in there and do it all. And it really is stepping back and halving, quartering what you think is the place. Really, really bring it down to that small thing, just to get going, just to take that first step and start to build a bit of momentum and see how it feels to do it that way.
Yeah, the thing of breaking a 30-minute walk into 3 10-minute walks was really good. And I thought, oh yeah, I can do that. This thing that seems really far away.
Yeah. I agree. I think making it accessible, because I think we just get overwhelmed when we think about the big thing we've got to do. So I really loved what you had to say too. And like Anna, I really love the clock as well. I actually drew it down and, looking at those things. So yeah, that's great. Do you want to add anything else, Anna? Sorry, I jumped in, got excited.
Oh, that's it. Thank you very much. It's just good to go over this thing of just being kind to yourself. It's like not the destination, it's actually the journey.
100%. You can learn so much on the journey.
Yeah.
And I think great information to really look at what's taking you off track, but also what's bringing you back to track, because that's really great information that tells us, oh, hey, I'm always going off track, on Tuesdays. I just never get to do it. So it's like, oh, what's happening on Tuesday that's having that happen? And when I do come back to track, what is that as well? Because that's such great information. If we know what it is, then we can kind of apply it sooner. So we don't have such big gaps as well.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great information to really observe what's going on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's brilliant. And all of that is, we call that in therapy, it's that strength based, where you're looking at where the person already has all these strengths, you know. So what does bring them back? If someone's struggling in therapy and they keep showing up every time, it's like, that's a strength. They just keep showing up anyway, you know. So I love that. And I loved what you said about looking at what is working first. Because I think our brain is so skewed to always looking at the things we're not doing right, and we're failing, we're not showing up. But looking at what we're doing right, it's so empowering. And it, you know, it's that thing of what we focus on, we do more of. So we focus on what is working, and we'll focus more on that. So that's really beautiful. I really love that. Yeah.
That's a real practice, isn't it? Because as you said, we are wired to look for what's going wrong, and we're very quick to, we might have done like that example I had, you know, I was going to do 3 walks. Most people I would talk to would go, I missed a walk. That would be the first thing.
Yes.
I didn't do it all. You know, that would be the first thing
Yeah.
in on, not the fact that, you know what, actually 2 of those walks, loads of them I got done, which is the celebration side of it, to really be able to flip that always to, bring it back to what's going well, 100%.
Yeah. How about you, Jodie? Any last few words before we finish off?
Yes, I'll keep it quick because I know we've run out of time, but thank you, Meg, for reminding me to get rid of my shoulds and reminding me to chunk to my whys.
Yeah.
Thank you, because that will keep me on track, knowing why, and being kinder to myself. I'm not very good at that. So thank you.
Pleasure, my absolute pleasure. Yeah, that why one is, you know, go a few
So
layers to really find something that feels good in your bones. Yeah.
Beautiful. Excellent. Okay. So, well, thank you so much, Meg, for your beautiful
My
time and
pleasure. Thanks for having
expertise.
me. Thanks for being here and giving up your time. Really do appreciate it.
Beautiful. And for those watching the replay, you know, Meg did share her details. I'm going to also get a little bit more information and make sure that in the email that I send you all, that Meg's information's on there. We're also going to be sharing this on YouTube, and I will share all of Meg's details on there. So feel free to reach out to her. So once again, thank you. And thank you for those that attended live. It really makes such a big difference. So I really appreciate that. And we look forward to seeing you next time, next week, next Thursday. We're looking at a masterclass on ageism. So if you want to get in on that debate and learn how you can change that narrative around ageism, join us next week, same bat time. See ya.
Thanks, babe.